Bartolo Longo's final days were shrouded in a quiet intensity, a stillness that could be felt by anyone who approached him. Those who had known him for decades, disciples, pilgrims, and priests alike, noticed a shift in his demeanor. His eyes, once sharp and fiery with the wisdom of his journeys, now carried the weight of a secret so profound that even the walls of the cathedral seemed to bend in reverence. As the sun set on a stormy afternoon, he called together a small circle of trusted followers. The room was silent, save for the flicker of candles that cast long, trembling shadows. His voice, though weak, carried an authority that silenced all doubt. He spoke slowly, each word deliberate, as if the very act of speaking these truths might shake the foundations of the world. My children, I have walked the edge of darkness, and I have looked into the abyss. I have served forces that promised power, secrets, and knowledge, yet all of it pales in comparison to the light of God. There are truths hidden within the church, truths so sacred and perilous that most cannot bear them. I was allowed to see them, and through them I understood the fragile nature of human faith. He paused, breathing heavily, as if each word drained him further, yet he continued. There are places, manuscripts, and rituals that the world is not ready for. Not because they are evil, but because they are meant for discernment, tests of the soul. Power without wisdom destroys. Knowledge without humility corrupts. I have learned this firsthand, and I tell you, guard your hearts. Let no pride, no fear, no curiosity lead you into temptation. His eyes scanned the small group, burning with a final intensity. I have seen men wield sacred secrets as weapons, twisting faith into control, twisting miracles into manipulation. And I have seen what happens when the balance between light and shadow is broken. That knowledge is forbidden for a reason. But I also saw what happens when a soul surrenders fully to God's mercy. Redemption can overcome any darkness, no matter how deep, no matter how old. Bartolo's voice trembled, but his message was unwavering. Remember this, the greatest power is not in what you know. The greatest power is in faith, in love, and in mercy. Use your knowledge to guide, not to dominate. Protect the lost, heal the broken, and walk humbly before the Lord. For even the devil, who once tempted me, cannot withstand the soul fully surrendered to God. As the room absorbed his words, a calm descended, as if the air itself had been purified. Bartolo Longo closed his eyes for the last time, his body frail, but his spirit radiant. Those present felt an unexplainable warmth, a presence that filled the space with both sorrow and awe. They understood that what they had witnessed was more than a confession. It was a revelation, a final gift from a man who had walked through hell, faced the darkest secrets of faith, and returned to guide the living. From that day forward, those words were carried in whispers among the faithful, a forbidden revelation, a warning, and a guide. Bartolo Longo's final message endured. No darkness is beyond God's light, no secret too dangerous for faith and mercy, and no soul too lost to be saved. After Bartolo Longo's passing, the cathedral seemed to hold its breath, as if the stones themselves remembered his final words. Pilgrims who visited felt a weight in the air, a strange mixture of fear and awe. Those closest to him began to report unusual phenomena, faint whispers in the hallways, candles flickering without wind, and visions of light illuminating the darkest corners of the building. Many were convinced that his spirit lingered, guarding the secrets he had revealed and guiding souls toward salvation. One night, a young seminarian arrived at the cathedral, drawn by the stories of Bartolo's forbidden revelation. He carried with him a journal he had found hidden among Bartolo's personal effects, filled with cryptic notes, sketches of symbols, and passages referencing ancient manuscripts. As he read aloud, the air grew heavy, and shadows seemed to dance along the walls, testing his courage. But as he continued, he felt warmth suffuse the room, as if Bartolo's spirit were watching, protecting him from the darkness. The journal hinted at truths the church had hidden for centuries, rituals designed not for power, but for discernment, to test faith and humility. It spoke of souls corrupted by knowledge misused, and of redemption available even to the most lost. The seminarian realized that these were not instructions to wield forbidden power, but warnings, lessons meant to guide, to protect, and to illuminate the path for those tempted by darkness. Over time, the cathedral became a sanctuary for those burdened by secrets, guilt, or despair. Pilgrims recounted miraculous experiences, visions of Bartolo Longo, unexplained healings, and moments of clarity where the weight of sin seemed to lift from their shoulders. His final revelation had become a living force, transcending death, guiding the faithful, and inspiring awe in the hearts of all who sought the truth. Scholars who later studied his writings noted the profound wisdom hidden in plain sight. The Church's deepest secrets were not tools of manipulation, but tests of faith and guardians of mercy. Bartolo Longo's life and final words reminded the world that even when confronted with the darkest knowledge, faith, humility, and surrender to God's light are the ultimate paths to salvation. And so, the legend of Bartolo Longo grew, immortalized not only in the history of the Church, but in the lives of those he saved. He had faced the forbidden, spoken truths that few could bear, and left behind a legacy that continues to challenge, inspire, and protect all who dare to seek the divine light amidst the shadows of secrecy. Skullfire Latin Cross. As the days turned into weeks after Bartolo Longo's passing, the cathedral seemed alive with his presence. Pilgrims who entered felt an inexplicable warmth, as if unseen hands were guiding them, and some reported hearing his voice in quiet whispers, gentle, commanding, and filled with authority. Word spread quickly. People spoke of visions, of lights appearing where none should be, and of inexplicable healings. It was as if Bartolo's spirit had become a guardian, watching over those seeking the path of redemption. One stormy night, a wealthy nobleman arrived, desperate and terrified. He confessed to dark dealings, to pacts he had made seeking fortune, only to find himself trapped in fear and guilt. The cathedral trembled as he knelt, the shadows stretching unnaturally, seeming to react to his sins. But then, as he spoke aloud the prayers Bartolo had written in his hidden journal, a brilliant light filled the hall. The shadows recoiled and dissolved, and a calm descended, heavier and warmer than any storm could produce. The nobleman fell to the floor, weeping, and he swore that he had seen Bartolo Longo himself, standing above him in a halo of light, guiding him through the darkness and into peace. "Walk in faith," the figure had said, "and no shadow shall claim your soul." When he rose, he was changed, freed from the burdens of fear and corruption. Stories like this multiplied. Children healed from sickness, families freed from curses, and lost souls guided back to God. Scholars and priests who studied Bartolo's writings discovered coded warnings and lessons interwoven with his personal reflections. He had left more than confessions. He had left a blueprint for redemption, a map for navigating both the visible and invisible trials of life. Even centuries later, the cathedral remained a beacon. People who entered felt the weight of history, the guidance of a life that had confronted the darkest knowledge, and the promise of mercy. The legend of Bartolo Longo became immortal, the ex-priest who had faced the forbidden, who had walked the line between darkness and light, and who, even in death, continued to shepherd souls toward salvation. The final revelation was clear. True power is not in uncovering forbidden knowledge, but in how faith, humility, and God's mercy are applied to guide, protect, and save souls. Bartolo Longo had shown the world that even in the presence of darkness, light is eternal, and redemption is always possible. Skullfire Latin Cross. In the days that followed, the cathedral became a sanctuary like no other. Pilgrims traveled from distant lands, drawn by whispers of miracles and divine guidance. Those who entered felt a presence stronger than any human, a warmth that erased fear and filled hearts with hope. Candles burned brighter than natural fire, and soft lights danced along the walls, as if Bartolo Longo himself were walking among them, invisible yet tangible. The journals, manuscripts, and confessions he had left behind were studied carefully, not for power, but for wisdom. Clergy and faithful alike discovered that the deepest secrets of the Church were never meant to dominate, only to illuminate, to test faith, humility, and courage. Bartolo's life had become a living lesson that even a soul who once walked with darkness could rise, teach, and protect others through faith and divine mercy. Stories of miraculous interventions multiplied. Families claimed cures and protection. Lost souls found peace. The desperate found hope. People spoke of visions where Bartolo appeared in a radiant glow, guiding them, whispering prayers, and showing the path to God. His final revelation, the words he spoke on his deathbed, became legend, a warning, a guide, and a promise that no darkness, no secret, no evil can resist the light of faith and God's mercy. Centuries passed, but the legacy of Bartolo Longo endured. The ex-priest who had uncovered forbidden truths, confronted darkness, and walked the line between shadow and salvation had transcended mortality. He had become eternal, not merely as a memory, but as a force of protection, guidance, and divine inspiration. And so the story concludes with clarity and awe. Bartolo Longo had revealed the forbidden, survived the darkest trials, and left behind a truth that continues to illuminate hearts and souls. His life remains a testament that even the deepest shadows can be overcome, and the mercy of God can redeem every soul willing to surrender to the light. Skull Fire Latin Cross.